Sometimes you can tell a lot about a running shoe before you even lace it up. This arrived in a beautifully designed package that looked thoughtful and premium. It immediately made me think these people care about what they're making. This isn't a throw it in a cardboard box kind of operation. This feels like a small, dedicated company determined to make something noteworthy. And then I opened it up, unwrapped the shoe and thought, these look even more outrageous and fun than I thought they would. This is the R.A.D UFO, and I know you might not stick around for the full video, so spoiler, I really like it. Hey, I'm Jim and you're watching Race Day, where I share my take on the gear that I'm using as a 50-year-old runner still pushing for personal bests. Now, if you've watched this channel before, you'll know where I am with shoes right now. My rotation is strong. If something new wants a place in my weekly mileage, it has to offer something different. But this isn't replacing a race shoe, it's not chasing PBs, it's doing something else, and that's what surprised me. So let's start with fit. For me, in my usual size 9, this fits true to size. There's good room in the toe box, not too sloppy, not too narrow. The lockdown through the midsole is solid, and there's plenty of padding around the collar, but it doesn't feel overbuilt or heavy. Once it's laced up, it just kind of disappears. And with 42mm stack under you, that kind of security really matters. Spec wise, this is big, 42mm in the heel, 34mm in the forefoot, so an 8mm drop. Dual density PEBAX, a soft layer on top to absorb the impact and a firmer layer underneath to give stability and energy return. There's no plate, but it doesn't really need one. The first few steps feel properly bouncy. It reminded me of Nike Invincible kind of energy, that buoyant, springy feel that makes the miles feel lighter. But it's more stable than that shoe ever was. That wide base does a lot of work. You feel cushioned but not out of control. Now, this isn't a tempo weapon, it's not a snappy plated trainer. The foam compresses and takes a moment to rebound. But on easy runs, it's brilliant. On steady runs, it's genuinely enjoyable. It makes those miles feel lighter than they should. You don't feel like you're grinding, you feel like you're cruising. And that's something I value more than I'd probably like to admit. So let's talk about stability. This heel flare looks outrageous, but it works. A massive landing platform, a wide forefoot, and a rocked geometry to guide you forward. For something this tall and soft, it's impressively controlled. Fun without the wobble, and that's the sweet spot. The grip has actually surprised me. There's plenty of rubber coverage underneath. On damp roads, greasy corners, early morning moisture, no issue. It's not a trail shoe, but for uneven pavements and park paths, it's been absolutely fine. With this much stack, you don't want a sketchy grip, but this isn't sketchy. So let's talk durability. I've done just over 40 miles in this now, so this isn't a long-term verdict. There's some scuffing on the foam, but nothing I wouldn't expect from a soft PEBAX shoe. The rubber is holding up well, the bounce still feels lively, it hasn't flattened out or gone dull, but then again, this is 40 miles, not 200, so I'd consider this an early positive sign. Now we have to talk about the Megablast, because in many ways this covers similar ground to that shoe. Both sit in the super trainer space, both handle easy miles and steady effort. The Megablast feels lighter on foot, sharper and quicker to respond, and that matters to me. I'm 5'10", 136 pounds, I don't need a huge amount of foam under me to feel protected, and I naturally prefer lighter shoes. This, in my size, is around 260 grams. That's not heavy, but it's not light either. On easy runs, the bounce disguises that weight beautifully. But when you start to push pace, that's when I do notice it a bit more. So for me personally, the Megablast feels more versatile. The UFO feels more playful. So let's talk about what nearly stopped me from buying it. £180, and I'll be honest, I had this bookmarked on my computer for 2 months. 2 months. I'd open the tab every now and then, have a look at it, then close it, because £180 for a relatively new running brand is a decision. I eventually did press that buy button, and I'm glad I did, but this has to be something you want. There are safer buys out there at that price, more established names, more predictable outcomes, but in my case the enjoyment has justified it. So does this make my shoe rotation? Yes, but not as a race shoe, not as a speed shoe, but as a long run cruiser that makes miles enjoyable. It doesn't really replace anything, it adds something, and sometimes that's enough. This certainly isn't the most serious shoe that I own, but it might be one of the most enjoyable. And sometimes when you're stacking miles week after week, that's exactly what you need. You've been watching Race Day, and I'm curious, do you have the R.A.D UFO? What did you think of it? I'd love it if you would leave a comment and share your experience with everyone. Thanks for watching.
Hey, I just want to say thank you for watching all the way to the end and mention 2 little updates. I did a big 18-mile run this morning. My legs were completely cooked. Then I've come out in the R.A.D UFO to capture some B-roll, and these feel so good for recovery. Such good shoes. I've also done some marathon pace stuff in them, and I don't think they're ideal for that. They stood up for it. They did the job. So if you've watched all the way to the end, you're obviously into running shoes like me, consider subscribing, click that button. I've got loads of good shoes piled up, ready to test, so keen to share it with you. Cheers.